Welcome to episode 19 of the 200 Movie Challenge. And if you don't know what the
19.
200 Movie Challenge is, well, we've been saying it at the beginning of each one of these videos, so fuck it, we'll say it again. Me and Soda are trying to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen in 2025. Not 20, not new movies, but any movies, anytime. But 200 movies this
Anyone.
year. 100 each.
Mhm.
We're getting there. Soda, we missed
We're
last
we're
week.
halfway through the year.
Yeah,
We're halfway
we're
through the year,
almost
right?
halfway through the year. We're
hmm
we're we're on pace, so it's not like we're falling behind or we're way ahead. We're just right where we need to be. So yeah, we're
Right.
looking good to hit our goal by the end of the year. We'll probably surpass it a little bit. Kind of like the sports thing when we did. It's like it's going to be refreshing when it's over. It's like, okay, we'll still kind of do this, but maybe not as much. Yeah, I
I
say
want to
that.
watch movies I've seen before. I want to see other movies I've seen before.
I
I want to be like, oh, I've seen this movie. I can rewatch it again. It's
we can
like I
be
told
normal.
you.
We can be normal people.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because I'll be like, oh, I really want to watch The Last of the Mohicans, but I can't because if I'm gonna watch The Last of the Mohicans, well, I mean, I could just pick a random movie from Tubi and then I complete my homework assignment, And then on top of that, just life gets in there. It's like, just think about it. We're struggling watching 2 to 3 movies a week right now in our mid 40s. That's something right there. That's something. Although we picked up the pace, but we used to watch 7 movies a week at Blockbuster Video.
Yeah, pretty much because they were free and we really had nothing to do with our life. Because
There was no internet.
we were night. Yeah, that too. It's not like we were on our phones and playing game. Well, we were playing video
Right.
games.
Oh,
Um,
totally.
but we have 9 movies to talk about this week because we did miss last
Oh,
week. I was
jeez.
under the weather. You were running a 5K, and we just couldn't get to
Was.
it. So we have a
Yeah.
bit to get to. So you
Oh
actually have
God.
more than me, which is a rarity. You got 5
Very
movies you
rare.
watched. I watched 4. Yeah, because usually
You watch more.
I'm still on pace. 2 a week. So I've not broken the 2 a week. Where we need to go. So,
Mhm.
but we're gonna start with you, Soto. Soto, what is the first movie you saw this week, which will make your number 40th movie of the year? 40 movies for you. This is it. This is your 40th movie that you've
40,
seen this year. What?
40 brand new movies I've never seen.
40
Yeah.
brand new movies. That's just fucking crazy to think about. So yeah, what was the first movie that you saw in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah. So my 40th movie of this year was the Bob Dylan biopic, A Complete Unknown. It had some Oscar buzz, I believe, if I remember. Um, Look, I'll be right up front. I've never really gotten the whole vibe with Timothy Chalamet. I don't even know if I'm even saying that right. Tim Chalamet, Shamalama Ding Dong. I don't know. I've never seen what the big deal is with him. But I'll be honest, and he now I know who he is. I walked into this movie really with no expectations. I just thought it was an Oscar movie. I kind of knew about Bob Dylan a little bit. I've known some songs here and there, but I wasn't really too big into him. But I'll tell you what, this movie has caused me to be, ever since I've watched it a couple weeks ago, I've been in a Bob Dylan hole as far as listening to Bob Dylan's music, and I've been listening a lot to one of his first albums, I think, was just Freewheeling, and I've been listening to it on repeat, and it's because this movie and really Tim Chalamet's. Am I saying that right? I'll have to look it up, but
Yeah. Sorry to
based
the
on
famous guy that we don't know or doesn't know us. So it's okay.
no, I don't. Well, it's not your fault. I just don't know how to read. It's not Tim's fault. But his performance, I thought, was great in this movie, and I thought that the way you're gonna make fun of me because a lot of this movie is actually songs, which we talk about how I'm not really a big fan of that, because it just focuses on Bob Dylan and his kind of career and where it went. But I was really kind of surprised by how much I liked this movie, and I think what I liked the most about this movie was, really kind of how it showcased, um, the poetry that is in Bob Dylan's lyrics, and I'm saying that as a person who really wasn't a Bob.
Soto, I think I lost you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You
All
still
right.
there?
Now
Hello?
you're back. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll re-edit it. Where'd you miss me?
Just the
That
last.
way, if we
I don't know. All of a sudden, you're like something like Bob Dylan and
oh,
and then it just went
Well,
very silent for a while. So I'm like, oh,
uh, oh, so again, what I think was I was saying was that it just the movie just does a really good job of just showcasing, the kind of the poetry and the lyrics of Bob Dylan's songs, which I didn't really ever pick up on. I was more of a Beatles fan, listening to the Beach Boys, Rolling Stones, during that era. I never really was into folk music. Um, Never really my vibe, but this movie allows those moments to happen where it's Timothy Chalamet singing as Bob Dylan, and you kind of just get a chance to just pay attention and watch the lyrics unfold, and some of the songs were very powerful. I thought, for coming from me of all people, I thought it was really good and really powerful, and it made me immediately want to go into the Bob Dylan kind of discography and just kind of look at see what else he's got, and I've been enjoying it ever since I watched this movie. Um, does that make this a good movie? I think it's a fine movie. Um, if anything, if I had any complaints about this movie, we talk about story. It's a biopic, right? Like biopics are biopics. Like they're just going to be, they kind of just go from moment to moment until like, you kind of just go over the entire history of this person's career. Although I did like, I think it was Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix.
yeah.
The only problem with Complete Unknown that I had was that it's long. And as I've established many times on these episodes, I just don't want to have to sit through movies where I'm like, oh my god, I think this sits at like 2 hours and 24 minutes.
Oh, damn.
That's a little bit. It's a little bit on the long side. It didn't feel like it needed to be. Again, the music was fantastic, phenomenal performances were great. Um, Story was whatever, but it just didn't need to be as long as it was. So really, the big takeaway for me was just kind of really getting to know Bob Dylan's songs and understanding like what they meant, like in the context of the times that they were written into. Um, I never really picked up on the poetry of it until I saw this movie. So, kudos to this movie. But it's not one of the best movies I've seen this year. Um, I recommend it to anybody who, if you're interested in Bob Dylan, this obviously it's going to go that far for you. I think that the performances they were nominated for Oscars. I think it's warranted, especially for Timothy Chalamet. Um, no, but overall, it was an enjoyable experience. So, as far as where I rank this, because I'm doing this like right on the fly, like where I enjoyed this, right? Is that like we talk about when we look at
Well,
this
again,
list? This
it's
first,
hard to
like how
say
I
what our
enjoyed it.
lists are because I know it's a mix of how good a movie is, but also how much you enjoy it because that two kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and it's getting to a point, especially as you're getting to 40 to 50 to 60s, it's where it ranks. So, like, we've said that there's some movies which are probably better quality, but wasn't as enjoyable as another one. So, I'll say this, and I've said it before this is your list, Soto. You can do what you want. Now, for as you're thinking this, if you remember, I watched a biopic pick similar, Bohemian Rhapsody, earlier this year. I love Queen. A lot of
Right.
people love Queen. And yes, there were certain things I'm like, I kind of wish there was a little bit more, but those who are nostalgic for the music know the music. And, he won an Oscar too. So it was fun. It was good. And, it's hard to go against Queen. So I know that I don't remember where it's at on my list. I know it's in the top 10. But yeah, I mean, put in the enjoyment, put in, where you think it's good. This is your list. Like, so I don't know how you can make it however you want. I just started doing the enjoyment thing a little bit more just because it's easier. Like, okay, I like this movie better than this one, but
No, that's. I think that there's some merit to that, and I agree with that. And that's what I kind of am thinking about too, because did I enjoy this experience? Okay, like was it the best finely crafted movie that I've seen with like 3 act structure, and did it reinvent, what like the second act, how it goes in the third? No, it didn't. Nothing was done. But did I enjoy this movie, and did it touch me emotionally? Especially when I'm like forced to listen to the lyrics of a song, and really kind of sit with it, like to the point where it had an emotional kind of reaction. Yeah, it did. And when I think about that, I think that that's what sometimes a movie is supposed to do. And I'm going to talk about some stupid fucking movies after this one, where you turn your brain off. But sometimes there are those movies. There's a space, I think, for those movies that kind of turn on that emotional thing. And I think that I needed to hear the songs that were in this movie at that time in my life, and it really kind of it just hit me in the right way. And so it kind of, I mean, the movie itself caused me to change behavior. It started me, every time I'm driving to work, I'm listening to Bob Dylan, or if I'm doing anything, I'm listening to Bob Dylan. So based on that alone, um, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to put this above Paddington. This is going to be my new number 5.
Oh, not Paddington 2. Oh, when you
Paddington
said
2, I
Paddington, I was
apologize.
looking
Yeah.
at the first one, so I was
Yes.
thinking, all right,
Yeah.
never, yeah, that's like I
Oh, I
said.
think it's up there. I think it's up there. I mean, it was a memorable cinematic experience, and I think that's worth something.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to my list. Yeah, but actually, I have Bohemian Rhapsody right now. It's still at number 5 for me. So
Nice.
that's kind of funny that it's like that, but yeah. So yeah, no, I mean a biopic pick can be good. You hit the notes you need to. A lot of times the people's careers and whatnot. Songs help. I will admit, I think Bohemian Rhapsody was just under 2 hours, so I think the timing might have been better.
Mm.
Um, and yes, Rami Malek won Best Actor. So no, I mean, I've never been a huge Bob Dylan fan. I know a few of the songs, but I don't go out of my way to listen to
Not
them.
for
So
everybody.
no,
It's not
no.
for everybody. I mean, it's like, because sometimes his voice is not for everybody. It's folk music. It's like just down to earth people music. It's not fancy, but um, some of his lyrics are just like absolutely fucking like devastating. And even some of the songs that he's singing in the movie, and there's one that's like a political one about mid 60s, and the lyrics like apply, like they're so like they still apply now. And I think that anytime that you hear a song and the lyrics hit you, and you can kind of resonate with how closely it's kind of mirroring the human condition, um, that kind of tends to stick with me, like personally. And I think that when I heard some of these lyrics in this movie, it just fucking blew me away. And I saw this movie like 2 weeks ago, um, and I can still talk about it, like this. So I think it deserved its kudos. It's not, again, not the best movie I've seen this year, but certainly one that caused me to go down a different path in my life.
Just above Paddington 2, a movie that made you a better man. It did.
I mean, it was a Paddington 2 is a great movie. It's well done, has a great ending, but you know, it did not make me want to be a better man. I will say that.
All right, Soto.
Or did I?
I am going to give you my first movie. And
Oh yeah, that's right. You watched
I
movies.
am going to do something very rare that I've done in a review.
Oh
I am
God.
going to memento style this review for the most part. So I'm going to give you the
So-
answer. I'm not, to those who click the thumbnail, they know what movie I'm talking about. So this is the movie I'm talking about is the worst movie I've seen this year.
What?
I'm
No.
starting.
No.
Oh,
Under
yes.
the bed?
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna let me take you back in time because I'm going to tell you right now. So this review it's going to be short, so I'm going to pad it with a lot of other shit right now. So yes, if those who remember the very first episode that me and Soto did, I saw this movie Under the Bed, and I even said during that review, and I even said in a few weeks later because you brought it back up, like, yeah, the movie was shit. Like the story, it was I just could not follow it. None of it made sense. But I did say a couple things about it. A, the practical effects were actually really good. I think they spent all their money in that.
Yeah.
And you asked me a question if I ever would watch if I think I'm gonna watch something worse than Under the Bed. And my answer to you was this.
Mm-hmm.
I know, knowing me and knowing a lot of the movies that I choose sometimes, because these list of
I
ours are
know.
pretty hilarious. I'm like, I think the answer would be yes, because as much as I hated Under the Bed, there was, like I said, the kills were awesome. And I know I'm going to watch a quote unquote a to be special, as we like to call it, where I'm just like, I'm going to take a chance and it's going to be wrong. I need to go through it. So I knew that was the back of it. So, two. So, Soto, something else we've talked about in past and Rotten Taste podcasts, and this is we've talked about spoof movies. Why haven't spoof movies, since I think we talked about Scary Movie might be the last
Yeah.
good spoof movie that's come, and that came
Oh,
out in what,
absolutely.
2000, I think, actually, right? I'm not, whatever.
Yeah,
It was
25 years ago.
very early. That was Anna Faris, her career starter. So I know she's been around. And yes, we talked about the fact that it's been hard to do spoof movies because a lot of it has been done. Just with streaming services, it's a little different, and the subject matter has to be there. I mean, even with Marvel, I think they tried a couple times, like superhero movie, and it just falls flat.
Yeah.
So I actually watched this movie. I started to watch this movie a few months ago, and I just couldn't get into it at first. I'm like, I was not in the mood. I was
Started
like,
to?
yes, I kind of popped it. I'm like, let me check this movie out. I saw like the thumbnail. I saw, this. I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to do this. And I was like, I don't know. I got like 15 minutes and I'm like, I don't think my mindset is ready. And then a couple weeks ago, as we usually do, it was still kind of there on my list. And I'm like, fuck it. It's time. Now, so this movie does not star anyone really famous, though it does have Kevin Nash in it. It does have a couple other
What?
small. He's not a star. He kind of, he is in it.
Yeah.
Um,
Kevin Nash is also in, John Wick. So that's a broad
well, it's
spectrum.
also Super Shredder, but he didn't need lines. But no, he plays himself in this, and he's got a few other wrestling buddies from Luke
himself?
Gallows, Glacier. But it's only for a couple scenes, so I'm just saying that because he actually got top billing, and he's not even the star. So anyhow, I think I've kind of run this enough because I really don't want to
Wait a
talk
second.
about.
Wait. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
This movie stars Kevin Nash as himself.
Yes.
This is the kind of movie this is.
Oh yes. Because all right. So I will get. Let me tell you what the name of the movie and the premise and how Kevin Nash and the other wrestlers came to be.
I already hate this. This is worse than Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies. Oh my god.
100%. So do you remember when you said to me, if I watch anything,
God.
well, no, just wait.
Yeah.
You don't have
do.
to. Please don't.
I do.
No,
I
you don't.
do.
Don't.
I have to.
No, you don't. Soto, don't. No, please
How
don't.
could you do this?
Soto, don't. I'm begging you. I haven't even said the name of the movie. And think about all the pain and anguish that's in your heart.
I've seen Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies, and it's worse.
It's worse.
Heaven help me.
Now, mind you, in my opinion, Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies is the worst thing I've seen this year, not including this. But that's just because I expected shit. When you expect bad, and there is some, anyhow, I'm not going to get into that again. So, Soto,
Sure. Oh God, I'm bracing myself.
So this is from 2017. It
Okay.
parodies the movie Saw, and it's a movie called Slaw. And it's about these two.
What is it called?
Slaw. Then coleslaw. Coleslaw. So Slaw. It's called Slaw. Slaw. Basically, two brothers. They have the.
It's on Tubi.
Oh, it is. It is. Two brothers who are foodies, because we talked about foodie movies with the menu. They basically capture people who have ruined their dining experience, like they're going out to eat and someone's just like, oh, please move these two guys, they're annoying us. And they basically put them in like a saw-like contraption, but kind of sometimes coleslaw is involved. So this movie's so bad. And so anyhow, one of the things is there's like a little guy, and there's a little guy, very little guy, not saying the word, and his big brother, and it's the little guy's birthday. Now, mind you, these guys are in their 40s, so and he sees Kevin Nash and his friends, and he's like, oh, well, Kevin Nash, maybe he'll come over and, hang out for my birthday and stuff like that. And he goes over to Kevin Nash's table. It's like, oh, you're my favorite wrestler. That's how it happens. And Nash is like, listen, I'm just trying to eat dinner with my friends. Just, hey, happy birthday. But almost like, leave us alone. And he keeps, so finally the guy goes back. And as Kevin Nash leaves, he like dumps food on top of his head. And then it's like, Kevin Nash came to my birthday, that's the scene. But because Kevin Nash is the most famous person, he gets top billing. I laughed at that. But yes, Soto, this movie is very bad.
God, dude.
This movie is so badly racist and sexist. Like there's a white guy because all the hoods get off. And if you've seen the movie Saw, there's like the carousel where like 6 or 8 of them are looking at each other. And he's like, oh my God, I'm gonna die first because I'm the black guy, and he's white as white. I'm like, oh my god, that's how bad this is. And then they put the head contraption on, and like coleslaw is filling in. He's like, I can eat this all day. It's so bad, Soto.
Chad, hold
Yeah,
on, Chad. Just
yeah,
I I I only have one question for you right now.
yeah. Please, can we end
How
this?
long is this movie? How long is this
1
movie?
hour 22 minutes.
Jesus. Okay, that's not bad.
No, it's bad.
That's not bad.
No,
That's
it's bad.
82 minutes.
That's still bad for this movie. That is so bad. Like there's not one thing I enjoyed about this movie. Like when we watched Pro
Wow.
Wrestlers versus Zombies, yes, I kind of knew it was going to be cheesy and bad. And when they
I like
started
the
the rest, I
beginning-ish.
laughed and I was in little enjoyment. And then the second half just went to shit. I'm just like, oh my god, this movie is so bad. So no, I mean, if you decide to watch this, this is on your own
I
accord.
have to.
No, you don't.
I have
No,
to.
you don't. No,
I made a
listen,
fucking
you're my
promise. I
Blockbuster
have to do
customer.
it.
I am taking the rental out of your hand. I'm telling you, don't fucking do this.
Well, it's free. It's not like I'm
I
gonna
know
pay
it's
for it. I
free,
mean,
but you know what? You're gonna waste, Soto? 82 fucking minutes. Oh my
Oh,
god.
dude, I mean, I'm sorry. I made a fucking promise. It'll be the last promise I make with the 200 movie challenge. Where it's like this will complete the first half's like promise where I said specifically if there was a worse movie than Under the Bed, I would watch that movie.
No,
And you know what?
I
I
forget.
have to for
No, no,
science.
no, 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 no. Oh my god. So you're gonna no. Like I said, I started watching this a while ago, and I think I got to the
Oh,
Kevin Nash scene because that's kind of early on.
you
Again, first
stop.
15, 20 minutes. And then it was just like I couldn't take it. I'm like I stopped. I'm like, all right, I can't count this yet
Oh,
because I didn't finish it. And I'm like okay, I'm not doing this week. And I don't know when this happened. And again, I'm like, it's time. It's time for me just to see. Maybe I wasn't expecting great, but Soto, this is by far the worst. So I guarantee you, if you
oh
do see
God.
this, and because I have a feeling you're going
Yeah.
to, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
As
You
your
know I
friend,
will. You
you
know I
do
will.
realize I actually feel sorry for you. Like I am
You did this.
genuinely, you're
You
because
did
there's
this.
nothing.
It's your fault.
I'm begging
You
you
did
not
this.
to do this. I'm begging you. You're gonna come back and like, Chad, you did this to me. I'm like,
Of course I am.
don't do it,
I'm
Soto.
blaming you now. As
Don't.
soon as you're explaining it, I'm like, oh man, like just tell me it's not long. Like just tell me that. I don't care how
How
bad it
long?
is. Don't make it just be
So no, how about
long.
this? Just do me a favor. Do me a favor. Just do me one favor. Because I'm gonna
All
end
right, I'm
this
listening.
after this. When you do watch this, because now I have a feeling you're
Mhm.
going to, and fuck you.
I am. I am.
Just
Yeah.
get your phone.
Fuck you.
No, fuck you.
Fuck me.
Don't you-
Fuck you.
I
Like
am
you
not
did this. It's
making
not
you
my
do
fucking
this.
fault.
I am
I didn't
not making
choose
you do this.
this.
You did. You did.
You did this to us.
No.
You're the one that did this to
And
us.
I'm ending this right now. I'm telling you, don't do it. So just get your phone, put it
Uh,
on TikTok, have at least some enjoyment. Look up, look down, because I'm going to tell you it's 82 minutes, and you're going to be
oh,
like, oh my god. Now here's the one thing I will say. I am about to say the only positive thing about this movie that I can. Two
oh
things,
my
because
god.
they
Okay.
kind of the end credits, and they actually show some clips of the end credits of behind the scenes. You know how they do like joke stuff. I actually laughed at that. It was like, oh my god, there's a couple funny moments. That was the only
Mhm.
time I had an emotional response to this. End credits and a couple funny scenes. That's it. Soto, there's no way I'm going to see a movie worse than this. There is no way. Is it possible? Yes, it is technically possible. But even some of the shit that's still on my to be my list, which I'm not bringing up yet, I don't think is going to be worse than this. I don't think it's going to be worse than Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. Is it going to suck? Yep.
But I might have to find one and just fucking attack you with it. I'm just
You
gonna
can.
search into
Oh,
the
but you know what?
deep
I don't have to
parts
watch.
of Tubi.
I did not make that promise. Just remember, I told you you can get out of this contract. I ripped up the contract. I'm taking your movie rental away, giving you a refund. You know what? I'm giving you a free combo. Have a
Yeah,
couple bags of popcorn,
yeah,
candy, soda, and just to make it a
yeah.
blockbuster night. Go find any other movie. I don't care. Just
I mean, dude, like
don't watch
I,
this. Don't watch
I'm
this. Don't watch
I'm
this.
a I'm a fucking movie scientist, man. Like I gotta know. Like I
Oh,
gotta
please.
know. Like I gotta know. Like I can't not know. Like you know what I mean? Because I'll think about it. At least I could be like, okay, you know what? I did that. It sucked. Okay, but I mean, it's just a bad movie. I've seen some really bad movies in my life, and um, yeah, I'm sure you'll know by Saturday night on our next
No, no,
podcast.
no, no,
Like,
no. You're gonna do it that early, huh? Oh, fuck.
how you feeling? If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get it the fuck out of the way. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna fucking wait around. Like, I'm gonna be like, okay, and that's rip the band-aid. Like I don't stand at the edge of the diving board. I jump right the fuck in. And you know what? You tell me this is the worst movie you've seen this year.
100%. I would
I have to
rather
do it,
you
man.
watch
I
Under the
have to
Bed. I
like
would rather watch.
we're right now we're two separate people. Okay, you're Chad who has seen this movie, and I am Soto who has not, and we need to bridge that gap, and that's gonna happen on the next episode. And God help us all. I hope that I survive the experience.
Oh, you'll survive it. You're gonna question a
Oh,
lot.
I
You're gonna question a lot. And like,
I'm
I mean,
probably
if you see the, I mean, I'm sure you just looked it up. You see the thumbnail. It's me, and I did. I know
no.
our opinions of the Saw movie are very different. And
Yes,
you know, I'm
they
like,
are.
okay, I'm like parody Saw. I'm in. Let me just see Slaw. I thought it was gonna be more of a comical. I just, you know what? I'm gonna leave it at that. There's not much more. I
Okay.
did this
Yeah.
review. I know you're gonna do it. Snodo, what
Yep.
is your second movie?
Oh my God.
I got to move
How
on
do I
from Slaw.
segue from that, right? Like, oh my God, we're talking about Slaw. So, we've talked about it before, and obviously I've watched a couple of martial arts movies on this list. I like martial arts movies. There's not really that many around, or at least I find them like hard to get a hold of because if you go to most of these streaming sites these days, they don't really have a dedicated martial arts section. I know that ours at Blockbuster was pretty much the size of the horror section, which was just like maybe two bays. Um, but like I'm always on the lookout for new martial arts. I've had some misses this year with martial arts. I mean, it's sad that the best one I saw was Kung Fu Killer, I think, with Donnie Yen. But I'll watch anything that Donnie Yen is in. So as I was perusing, the very limited whatever martial arts that was on, in particular, Amazon Prime, um, I came across this movie that said, it was something like 70 versus 1 or some shit, or 400 versus 1, like samurai shit. And I was like, okay, what's this about? And the credits were like, this is in one take. 77
Ooh.
minutes, one guy versus 400, whatever the fuck he does. And I'm like, okay, I have to check this out. And it was only like, so it's 77 minutes of one take. So it's really like maybe like an 85 to 90-minute movie. So I was like, that's a good amount of time. And it was a good weeknight kind of a vibe. I will say this. I don't know what the longest shot you've ever seen in a movie is, but movie feel way longer when it's one shot.
Yeah, I've seen two movies that were one shot movies. And
Yeah.
really quick, one was Russian Ark. I remember seeing.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
actually
yeah.
quite a beautiful movie. But I kind
Mhm.
of lost it. It's hard. But the other one, I was interested because it was actually technically four shots, but four long shots, and they kind of did like a quad. This is right when digital video was starting. It was called Time Code. I know it's got Selma
Oh
Hayek and
yeah.
other
I think I
people.
saw that.
And what they
I
did, yeah,
saw
so
that movie.
they
Oh
had four
shit. I got updated
shots,
my letterbox.
and then
Yep. Oh,
obviously
they're all
they
going in different sections.
correct, and
And
they
they would
would
like
bring
meet
up
up with each
they
other
would
and
bring
stuff.
up the
That
volume
shit
of
was
what
cool.
needed to be. So yeah, that
Oh,
I
dude, I
saw,
need to rewatch that shit.
and that was actually well done because I think it took them
Very well done.
four
Very
attempts
well done.
because yeah, you're right, they had to do different things, so they
Oh my god,
obviously
it was
they would have
awesome.
to know who was talking and stuff like that. So to me, those are the only two movies I can think of movie wise that is one shot that it's probably close to 90 minutes. That was well done.
Mhm.
Like I said, Russian Ark, a lot of history, a lot of scenery. It was fucking beautiful, but I can't tell you a thing about it. I just remember, damn, that looks great, but I lost interest. Time Code
Well,
kept my interest, but anyhow, go on. Talk about,
Time Code is awesome,
yeah.
and now I'm gonna have to seek it out. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We'll
That's
watch it next year
my
when we
new
can watch new, old movies again.
it's my new egg salad sandwich of the week right there. Uh, Crazy Samurai Musashi is not Russian Ark, and it's not Time Code. I appreciate everything it's done. It's basically around Miyamoto Musashi, who is a famed swordsman in Japan, and he's ambushed uh, in what's supposed to be a duel. He's actually ambushed by the entire clan and some mercenaries in order to get back at him winning a duel with a previous clan member. And so it was a trap, and they're going to lose their honor. So that's the setup, And he gets caught in a little town, and he has to fight 400 guys. Now, this is all in real time. You know, Chad, I will tell you, you can actually see the sun setting in this movie. That's how long this shot is because it takes place outside in the woods and then eventually moves into like a little village. So the way the camera angles moved, you know, to kind of compensate for that setting sun and then making sure that there was no shadow of the cameraman, I thought was really good. But you know, there's a lot about this movie that is very incredibly tedious. While at the same time, I appreciate everything that went to it because you basically have to rehearse this over and over again, and then you're doing a take. There is no take. It's just hopefully you can hit all the spots you need to hit. And in those 77 minutes, you know, there's camera flourishes and things like that that kind of act as, you know, edits in your mind, you know, as far as like changes in the action that are done really, really well. But I mean, dude, like it's a there's no dialogue. It's just pretty much one guy like sword fighting over and over again with guys who refuse to surround him and who just keep coming at him like one at a time. And again, very cool things happen in this movie. But it was one of those things that was really tough to get through because eventually, um, the nuance and the weirdness of it, like just you get like it gets kind of tiring. And I think that's what happened in this movie for me. Although I can appreciate it, I'll never see it again. Really well done, and it's oddly enough the end they kind of switch to like later down the years and they go into edits and the edits are like sick and it's like awesome. It's like, oh my god, if this was like an edited martial arts movie, this would have been amazing. And so you get a brief teaser of that, but overall, you know, I just thought it was kind of, you know, whatever. um you know, it's more like ASMR, I guess, when you just listen to sounds, because the whole movie is just a guy just clanking swords with another guy. So I guess if you want to fall asleep to something, you can just kind of check this out on Amazon Prime. So I guess the question, as always, is
Where
where
does
do
it
I
rank
rank
on the Soto list?
Crazy Samurai Musashi? And this already kind of feels like down by Shadow.
Oh, that. Where is Shadow?
Yeah, Shadow, which was a fucking colorless martial arts movie that I saw as well.
Oh yeah, 36 is
Um,
where it's at right now.
I'll tell you what, I think I'm gonna put this under the Curse of La Llorona at 39.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
this went down
bad.
there. Uh just long and tedious. Um Cool moments, but not enough to like be like, okay, this was cool. Like I saw it, I was happy to have seen it, and then I immediately forgot about it. But there were times especially in the beginning, where you're just like, oh my god, like what? This is so boring. So yeah, it's down at 39.
Well,
What a bullet.
it's not a last place one. I mean, that would have been interesting. We both had two worst movies this week.
Oh no,
I
no, no,
guarantee
no.
you it's going to be better than Slaw, but that's a different story. So I'll tell you something, Soto. I was,
Yeah.
before you hopped on to Discord, I was, I sometimes go on Tubi, Netflix, all of them, and just kind of see what's new, trying to find movies that I may not have seen. And I'll be honest, I was looking at some martial arts movies. I'm like, I do not have a martial arts movie on my list this year. And
Well.
unlike you, I know you've seen plenty. There is some that I've seen, but I've not seen the extent of the library as you have. So I am
Hmm.
looking. I know you mentioned like House of Flying Daggers, which technically I own, and
Right.
there's a few other ones. So I don't know if it'll be next week, but I am looking. I'm trying to get one that catches my eye, maybe something a little different. And we'll see. We'll see if Soto's seen it. Maybe that'll be another movie that you try to rant after I talk about it, but we'll see what
Well,
happens.
it'll be a nice, you know, breath of fresh air after I finish talking about Slaw.
Oh my god. I remember.
Slaw 2.
Oh my god, no, 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 no sequel, no nothing. All right, let me move on. Let me move on. Let me get to my second movie. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know where this is gonna rank yet, but I'm not gonna start with that like the last one, just cause we'll see how this goes. I saw I think this one was on Netflix, and I saw the movie Time Cut, 2024. And I like a
I'm
lot of time traveling premises, so I was like, all right, let
Yes.
me check this out. And I think I
Hmm.
texted you this one. This one has a bit of teenage angst too, which kind of surprised me. So anyhow, let
Like.
me just kind of get to the start of this. It does start off, and it takes place the beginning part takes place in 2003. And a few people have already died from this serial killer. There's this big party, and they said, listen, we need to, you know, cherish their memories. This one girl's like, you know, my friends have died, and her boyfriend's like, come on, just stay here. And this girl, Summer, you know, she's trying to get away. You know, she's trying to leave the party, and she ended up being murdered. So basically, you find out that there's been 3 nights of murders. This girl, Summer, was the last one. Flash jump 21 years later to 2024. The main girl is Lucy, her sister. Her parents basically had Lucy because Summer passed away, you know. So, but that will tell you her relationship with their parents. You know, there's just, it's not a happy, you know, they're just there. She's just there. She does not feel like they love her, blah, blah, blah. And she, typical high school, you know what I'm talking about. They're just like, you know, my parents. And she's smart. She actually got into like a NASA intern program. So she's basically about to move on to college, move out of, you know, the town, this and that. It's the 21st anniversary of her sister's death. They go to the site where she died. There's like a memorial, and the parents are like, you know, Lucy, did you bring anything for your sister? You know, and this girl's never met her sister, obviously. And she goes to the car, and it's like, oh, I left it there. She hears something in the barn, because there's a barn next to it, and she finds this machine. And basically, it transports her back to 2003. Now, there's more of that machine that's going to come up later. I'm not going to really talk about it because it's spoiled. She finds out, like, yeah, oh my God, I'm back in the past. And she's trying to figure out now how to go back in the future. Now, she goes to her high school because she wants to talk to her physics teacher. She doesn't know how. She's like, do people believe in time travel? How do we go back? And she meets her sister, and, you know, someone that she's basically kind of hated, you know, her whole life for no reason, you know, outside of the fact that, you know, her parents never thought she lived up to her. And they kind of, you know, she realizes, you know, hey, you know, this person's not that bad. You know, she's very nice. And so now she knows that these murders are coming up in the next 3 days. And now the question is, you know, because her friend's like, you know, because you think back to the future, you know, you can't stop them, and that could change the future. She's like, yeah, but they're going to die. I have to do something. But it could, you know, you know, the whole time travel thing. And then the real, you know, so obviously her, you know, she tells her sister who she is. She's like, I'm from the future. And her sister realizes it because she knows things that she's not supposed to know. But then comes the question, does Lucy save her sister? Because the whole reason she exists is because Summer died. So does she, you know, now that she's had feelings, now that she's kind of like, you know, like, oh, this is my sister. She is a good person, because now you can see the bond. She's like, can I let this happen? And that was a nice little twist, you know, to it all. So, you know, because basically the one thing I will say is, like, the first night, the two of her sister's friends are the ones that got murdered. And then at the last second, Lucy's like, I have to do something. And she goes to stop it. The kids get murdered anyways, but this time a security guard, because Lucy brought the security guard, gets murdered as well. And Lucy's like, I made this guy die. He was never supposed to die. And that's how they're fine. Someone's like, wait, what do you mean? There's more murders, you know? So then she's just realizing, you know, do I tell my sister she's the final one? So yeah, there's a lot of good, you know, interesting plot points to it. I mean, again, it's time travel. They do set their own rules. They stick to it. So I'm like, all right, I'm fine with it. I mean, it is absurd. But you know what? If you think about any time travel movie, it's absurd no matter what. You just sit back.
I mean, of course, inherently absurd. Of course.
But yeah, no, it was a fun little flick. You know, I did like it. And yes, though, there is a lot of teenage angst, you know, because, you know, this person loves this person, but she doesn't love him. And it is funny, her going back to 2003 and just saying things like, oh, let me Google, like, she has because her smartphone came with her, obviously doesn't work. And but, you know, to the point where it can't connect to the internet, but it has like all these apps, and, you know, she's like, well, can we just look this up on Google? You know, so it's funny just to think that back in 2003, what didn't exist or what was different then. I know we're older and we can go back to like the 90s, but you know what I mean? It's just like 20 years ago. Like, wow. Oh my God, a lot of things were just more recent.
Like, Google wasn't around back then? Jesus, it feels like fucking, like, wow.
And she's like, you know, because she accidentally makes comments, you know, even like about Facebook and social media. She's like, oh, because they're like, well, how? So all that was kind of funny. This is more of a like I don't know if it's PG-13 or technically R, but to me this is like
Hmm.
you know this is definitely one of those like sleep overnight murder horror movies. Nothing that's too gruesome, not so people get scared. We would have
Saturday
watched
Night
this in high
Rental.
school, but as adults we're like, yeah, it's kind of on the cheesy point. But it did keep my interest to the end. The time travel stuff was, like I said, it was definitely a different plot point to what it was, a horror movie. This kind of horror movie, I should say. So, yeah, no, I mean, it had a three-act structure. It ended. I was fine with the ending because I was worried. I'm like, oh, fuck, like, again, because I've said this about countless films, like, how do you end this? Because sometimes there's movies you watch, you're
Yeah,
like, there's
they
no way
land
you
it.
can end this properly because no matter what, you're like, if you do this, it's dumb. If you do this, well, whatever. But I was fine.
Yeah,
I was
your
happy.
options get, yeah.
They there's no loose ends. Everything's great. Everything ties up with a nice little bow. So yeah,
I
you
like
know
that.
what? If you want a fun little horror movie, with some teenage angst, which I know you, Soda, I'd rather have you see this movie than Slaw. But I know that's gonna happen. So where do I rank this?
Yeah, I have to watch Slaw now.
Where do I put the?
Future me has no idea. Future, that's only a couple days away. A couple days away, I will be a different person because I will have watched Slaw.
I think, and this middle section I've said might change, but I'm kind of feeling this. I think I'm going to put this as my new 22, right above the menu. Feels
Ah,
right at the
above the
moment.
menu.
Right above it.
I mean, from what you said from the plot, plot sounds interesting.
Yeah, no, and it was. And again, I was a little worried because I was like, yeah, again, because I always worry if they're going to stick the ending. I'm like, I'm okay, just give me a good reason. Obviously it's time travel. Like, I'll believe it. And I will be honest, with lack of better, I did not guess the ending, because the other thing is you don't know who the killer is. Is there, you feel like there's a reason. So you see the whole thing comes together. You're like, oh shit, that makes sense. But you don't see it. A lot of, so I was like, oh damn. So I think I like that as well. But I mean, it didn't. Outside of that, yeah, there wasn't too much to it. Some happy, sister scenes as you're giving her a makeover and dress it up and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why it's hilarious. It was going back to like the 2000s. I'm like, man, was it really that long ago? Is that how we lived 21 years ago? Feels
Doesn't
like so
feel that way,
long.
but I guess it was, right? Like shit. Like, people are like, "Oh yeah, 2017." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that was the other day." No, it wasn't.
No, that was 8 years ago. Yep.
2007 was a fucking long time
Oh,
ago.
I thought you
Like,
said
or 2017.
2017. I'm sorry.
No, I did.
2007.
Yeah, 2017 was a fucking long time ago. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like even 2018 was. So I'm like, oh my god. Like it's like in 2017, I'm pretty sure I was smoking cigarettes. That's how long ago that was. But in my mind, I'm like, no, that was the other day.
Yeah, I quit. I quit smoking 2018, I think. Yep, that's when I quit. Right before Philly. Yeah, so yep.
Mhm.
7 years. But anyhow, enough about what we were doing 7, 8 years ago. Soto,
I know. Right? Yeah.
we're 4 movies in. We still got 5 more to go. What is the third movie that you watched this week?
Well, I don't
Oh,
know. Do you remember Adam Sandler?
I yes.
What was the last Adam Sandler movie that you remember watching?
Um
Yeah.
wait. Pixels? I
Do you
think
know?
Pixels was the last one I honestly watched that I can
Oh,
remember.
okay. Uh, I mean, I kind of stopped watching Adam Sandler movies after a while. I kind of lost track of him a little bit. Although I'll probably end up watching Happy Gilmore too, because it'll be free on
100%.
Netflix.
I'm doing that as well.
Uh, although I know I can already see the disappointment, but I don't care. Now, the movie that I saw for Adam Sandler, specifically on Netflix, it stars Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. It is the movie uh, Murder Mystery, and I think this is probably one of the first, like, because like Netflix started getting into making movies for themselves, right? Like right around this time, like 2019, 2018.
Feels right, yeah.
And this was like one of the first hits. I never got around to it. Um, I'll tell you what. We talk about movies that you could just turn your brain off. I found nothing wrong with this movie at all. I put it on. Sarah and I watched it. It had its goofy moments. It was very lightweight. It was kind of funny. He was really funny. And he wasn't really, he was just being like himself. Like, so just being himself, like, makes him funny. But it's a pretty basic plot. Like, a couple. So I'll tell you, Adam Sandler's character is a cop and he's going for his detective license, but or detective test, he keeps failing it. He's failed it for like 3 times now. And so he's been holding this from his wife the whole time. So his wife thinks he's been a detective, but he hasn't. She's a hairdresser. He's a detective, or he's just a cop. So she always wanted to go to, I believe, Europe. If I'm correct, if I'm remembering this plot right, she always wanted to go to Europe. Like as soon as since they got married. I think they were married for like 15 years, and they never took that trip to Europe. And so, in order for him to cover up this lie that he hasn't been a detective, he just he must have put all this shit on a credit card. He's like, guess what? For your anniversary or whatever your birthday, like we're going to Europe just like you've always wanted. And she's like, oh my God, great. And so, they end up going to Europe. They meet some shady characters. They get invited to a dinner party on a boat in the middle of the ocean. I'm sure you can figure out exactly where
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
going. Okay. I'm not saying this movie is original in any kind of way. It's a very unoriginal idea, very predictable, done with Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston, like comedic timing. And I enjoyed it. It didn't really have any fucking nutritional value whatsoever. But, if you put this on a random Saturday and you're just like want something light and fun to watch, doesn't ask a lot of you, and you happen to find Adam Sandler's sense of humor like funny, then I think this is a perfect way to spend that kind of afternoon. I mean, this movie, I chuckled a few times. I didn't think it was bad, and when it ended, it ended. I mean, I predicted everything that happened, but I wasn't mad about it. You know what I mean? And I think that if this is free and you have a chance to see it and you've got nothing else going on, give it a shot. Because I'm probably going to end up watching the second one now, just because I know that it's going to take it up to another level, and it's going to be just if I want to turn my brain off and just watch a lightweight comedy. This is a movie that I can recommend. I don't remember anything that happened in this movie. I remember watching it being like, oh yeah, I had positive feelings when I watched it, but it's really, just how much you like Adam Sandler, and how much you would like this kind of story where a couple, gets framed and accused of this murder, and now they've got to solve it together and also solve their marital issues at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
seen that movie before. It's like you've had sandwiches before. A sandwich is a fucking sandwich. Some
Yeah, nothing
sandwiches are
wrong with
better than
it.
others.
Yeah.
Other ones just do the job, and some are just whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what this is. Like, I wanted to watch a movie. I saw it. I digested it, and I was like, okay, cool. That's it. I enjoyed it. Neither good, nor bad. It was pretty neutral about it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Predictability, as we said, brain rot.
No.
There's as long as there's some entertaining value. And I will say, I know you'll probably get to the ranking in a moment, but if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, with Netflix, this was the first Adam Sandler one because then he signed, and I could be wrong about the number, like a 6, 7 picture deal with Netflix. And I
Yeah.
don't. He had a lot, and
He made a
I've
lot of
heard
money.
about like Hoobie Halloween or whatnot. I know there's more I'm missing, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, here's all the shit Sandler movies, like bad reviews." This is the only one I heard decent things about that I can remember.
Yeah.
As far as the
That's
Netflix
fine.
movies, yeah, just because
That's perfectly
yeah,
fine.
it's what it is. If you go in, just need just a mindless movie. This is it. So yeah, I know he has like
Yeah.
6 or 7 that kind of came out, and I like you. I do want to see Happy Gilmore too. I know that'll be on both our lists. We'll coordinate that
It's
for
gonna
this
suck,
challenge.
but
Yeah,
I'm
but we'll
watching it.
watch it. We'll watch it. But anyhow, where are we ranking this on your list?
You know, I'm gonna rank it just below Beekeeper at 27. I think that's where this is gonna rank. I think that feels good for this right now. That's gonna
27.
be
Just under Jason
27.
Statham.
Yeah, because the Beekeeper's legendary. You know what I mean? Like,
Is it?
it's legendary to me.
Okay. Okay. I'll give you that.
When I think of the Beekeeper, I get positive feelings. I don't know how long I'm gonna have Sing above the Beekeeper. I don't know because Sing was fine. But I really enjoyed Beekeeper. I enjoyed it more than Tree of Life too. Now I look at it, but that's a different episode.
Yeah, that could be an episode. Well, you're kind of getting into your 40 movies, and I think we've talked about this. Just every now and then
Yeah.
cleaning up, just like, okay, is this really here? Is this really there? And I know
Mhm.
I've done that a couple times, and it's now the middle for me that I feel like is going to have a good change. But I'll get to that sooner or later.
Mhm.
I'm in no rush for that.
Agreed.
But so I guess I should get to my third movie. Um, So as usual, I was just browsing, and I actually this one caught my eye because I saw it on. You know how TikTok, YouTube has like the shorts, they like scenes from a movie or scenes from a show, and you're watching it like, okay, that's interesting. What's going on? Why is this happening? Have you ever got that? How they this is how they
Yeah.
get you. So
Hmm.
I saw a scene from this
Curiosity.
movie, and again, I think this is on. I think this one's on Netflix. I could be wrong, but either way, it was definitely free. Um, but I saw the 2016 movie Colossal with Anne Hathaway, and I also Jason Sudeikis, who is in Ted Lasso. Um,
Oh yeah, I've never heard of this movie. It's
no, but
2016.
2016, and the scene is so it's a weird premise, and in a weird way, this movie's very heavy. But basically, there's this little playground by where. Well, let me explain the scene first. So I'm going to kind of start with the middle. But anyhow, Anne Hathaway's
Okay.
on this like little playground, and whenever she's on this playground, this almost like Godzilla, King Kong like monster in South Korea, um,
What?
basically appears and is terrorizing. So it's almost like whatever she does there, a monster magically appears in this one area and is terrorizing South Korea. So at
Okay.
first she thinks it's a joke, and then she kind of realizes like certain hand movements, and obviously she accidentally, trips and falls and knocks over a building, and now she's kind of devastated. So that's the scene. Like it's a real quick scene that I saw on TikTok. So I was trying to explain what caught it. So I'm like, okay, there's something weird about this, but I am intrigued. So basically, now let me get to the point of the movie. It starts off Anne Hathaway. She, as Soto, me and you can probably attest to back in our days, she was a very heavy drinker. Um, that's how she lived her life. And she's coming home
Hmm.
one night, and our boyfriend's waiting for her, and just basically what happened, and she's lying about it. She's like, "Oh, I had to go here, and then I had to wait for this person." And he's like, "Listen, I can't do this anymore. I have your bags packed. I'm just, basically, he's like, this is too much. You need help." So she goes back home,
Wow.
and she goes back to her childhood home, and she's meeting some friends, and her friend Oscar, the guy Ted Lasso, he's running a bar, and he's basically like, "Hey, why don't you come?" He finds her. He's like, "Why don't you just come work for me for a little bit?" He's trying to help her get off her feet. The new love interest and stuff like that. Obviously, it being a bar, but she says yes. And on her way home, this is how she finds out. She's dragging things, from one place to her home, and she all over town now. She gets woken up because everyone's like watching on their phones this monster that has attacked South Korea. And she's like, "Oh my God, this is insane. Is this real? Is this made up?" And but she knows it's not because it's everyone's watching it and talking about it. And then next night happens, she passes by again. Now she has this nervous tick where she scratches like the top of her head. And that's how she figures it out. She sees this monster do that nervous tick one time as she's watching. And she played back. She's like, "Wait, that's me. I do that." So she kind of solves the fact that anytime she's standing in this area, the monster appears in South Korea. And so at first she's like, "Oh my God, this is weird." And she takes her friends, like, "Look what I can do." Ooh, they're just like, and they're looking at her, looking at the monster on the phone, like, "What the fuck?" And that's when she trips, knocks over buildings. And now she's devastated because she killed like about 100 people. Like, and she was just goofing off. I say this movie's heavy because a lot of this deals with alcoholism. And
Hmm.
if you really look at the inside, because now she's like, I can't be this person. I need to be better. She actually, what happens is she tries to start, she learns like Korean, like I'm sorry. She gets I'm sorry. It was an accident. It'll never happen again. And she appears and she kind of writes it in the sand on the other side. But what happens is her friend, is
Hmm.
trying to make her not trip. Turns out when he's in the area, like this playground, he's a giant robot. So now there's two fucking monsters, and he's had a boring life, his whole life. That's all. So when she's came back, his love interest, he's happy. So now he's goofing off, like he's getting drunk, and he's like now trying to, be the giant monster. He's like, my life has meaning, and she's trying to stop him. So it's just this weird thing, like how people, when they're drinking, she knows she wants to get better and he doesn't, and it's the idea of like, what is addiction? What drags you down? The people that you love. And
Yeah.
I don't want to say more, but I was actually quite impressed with this. Like I was expecting to watch a goofy movie. Because again, I saw this on TikTok. I'm like, what the fuck is this monster? I don't know if you just now were kind of looking it up. Um, but I was amazed by it. I'm like, this is actually really good. There's a lot of heart to
Wow.
this, and we get by, because it's what affects us. It's hard to push away it's easy to hurt people when you don't see them.
Hmm.
But it's hard, when the people who are there, that care for you, can you push them away? Just and
Right.
that's like I said, there
Wow.
is especially with these two, and there is a reason why it happens in this area. You find out, and it actually doesn't matter too much because it's more of the other story. But yeah, I really did like this film. This was definitely more interesting than I thought it was going to be because I was just like, all
Yep.
right, I just want to see what's this giant monster. But yeah, and it's funny because one time when he's drunk and being the giant robot, she steps on the field, kind of pushes him and points like no, and she's become the hero of South Korea. So every time they see that, you hear cheers. And she's not trying to. She just doesn't want her friend to damage. And it's basically his control. He's like, listen, if you don't come to work or because she wants to go back to New York City, he's like, I will
Mhm.
just stomp all over the friggin' playground, and so she has to. So it's like, what? How is she going to stop him? She's because
Right.
he's now become an ass. So yeah, it's it is very good, but it's a very weird concept. So I can see why some people don't like it. But as we've seen with my movie list, Soto, I fucking love the weird concept kind of movies.
You sure do.
Um,
Yep.
as long
A
as
lot of those.
as long as it's done well. Now I guess the real question.
These lists.
I'm
Imagine when they're like 70.
I don't want to imagine it's. I know we're gonna get there. Um,
We are.
that. All right, so this is going to be. I'm feeling this right now. I am putting this at number 15. I'm putting this under Terrifier 2 and above Les Mis. Back to back
Under
Anne
Terrifier.
Hathaway movies.
Oh,
Actually, I just realized that. That's kind of where
wow.
I'm thinking about it right now because, like I said, the heart of this movie is there, and I really liked
Yep.
it, and it is a good film. Again, weird concept. Get past that, you can see what this movie's trying to. And like I said, it's a good metaphor of addiction, not just obviously alcoholism, but that's the main part of this
Hmm. Of
story. But it's just the
course.
idea
Yeah.
of can you get past it? Who's your friends? Who's the people that are trying to harm you? And that I again I liked it, and all that's just in them, in a weird way becoming monsters, though they're not. Like they can't see what they're doing, but I don't know. Like I said, this is one that I know I don't know if this was really a hit. Again, but and I was surprised. I was like, oh, that I because I didn't recognize that it was Anne Hathaway at first when I saw this. I mean, the
Hmm.
clip because again, she was kind of far away, and I didn't seem like her style of movie, but it was good. Not much more I can say about it, but yes,
Never heard
yeah, no, I mean, I only found it because I saw a short, and it was that thing. She realizes she's the monster. She's showing her friends, ooh, she's and she's like, that's me, and yeah. So I never heard of it, but I saw that. I had to look it up. I'm like, hey, it's free, and you know me, when it's free, we gotta
of it.
we
Yeah.
gotta watch it. So
It's,
yeah, so
we do.
that's where it's at right now. I think it's gonna be right. I almost said middle, but I'm at like 42. But yeah, so number 15. That's where it's at for me right now.
Nice. Okay, and I've never heard of it, so I will have to look that up.
Yep. All right, Soto, we're almost done. Three more to go. What is your fourth movie that you saw in the last couple of weeks?
So fourth movie I saw came out in 2014. This is another movie that I saw clips of on TikTok, and I don't know if you know this about me. I don't know. I kind of feel like you would be on the same vibe. I'm sure we've talked about this, but as we talk about food a lot, pretty much in everything that we do. So have we talked about Cuban sandwiches at all?
No,
And like
I
what my opinion? Have you ever had a Cuban sandwich?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
A
mean,
Cuban
honest,
sandwich.
I can't. Yeah, I can't remember
A
having a
Cuban
Cuban sandwich.
sandwich is it's a sandwich. It's usually between I believe like French bread or something. But it is like it's roast pork and ham with Swiss mustard and mayo, and then the bread is buttered and kind of put into a panini. Oh, it's also got pickles too.
All right, I will say this right now. It doesn't sound too bad. Not a Swiss cheese fan, but just the sounds of it sounds okay to me so far.
Well,
Just
it's
the
the way
sound.
that the Swiss plays with everything. Like it's you know what I mean. It's like it kind of it blends in. But
Yeah.
there's only one way to make a Cuban sandwich, in my opinion. And in Lawrence, where I live, very Spanish community. It's mostly Dominican. Uh, there are a lot of Cubanos on the menu, and they usually have shit that's not supposed to be on it, like lettuce or tomato and shit like that. And it's usually very disappointing. There's only one good place that I have found in Lawrence that has a an actual Cubano, and it's funny because it's the place that shouldn't make the best one, because you would never think this, but it's this breakfast place called Carlene's. Carlene's Diner, which is your basic, like, just kind of basic breakfast fare place that you would find anywhere. Um, their lunch menu includes a Cuban sandwich, and their Cuban sandwich, the bread is made fresh by Tripoli's Bakery, which is also in Lawrence. And so they take the Tripoli's Bakery bread, freshly made, it's been there for 100 years, and they put it in a Cubano, and it is fucking, like, phenomenal. Just the flavor profile, it's just the best. The way the pork and the ham play together, it's just fantastic. And so that brings me to this movie, 2014 Chef, directed by Jon Favreau, also starring Jon Favreau.
I'm surprised I haven't heard this. I love John
Um,
Favreau.
Jon Favreau is. This is also available on Tubi as well. It's got John Leguizamo too, who I really enjoy, obviously, and I don't know how old this woman is, Sofia Vergara, but she is fucking gorgeous. I don't even know how she's allowed to be as gorgeous as she is, but she is fucking gorgeous. I have no idea. That's the most like unrealistic part about this is that Jon Favreau, that's his ex-wife in this movie. He plays a burnt out chef. He's working at a fancy restaurant. Dustin Hoffman is in this, by the way. Restaurant restaurant owner, and same story you've heard all the time, right? Jon Favreau wants to make his own menu, and the owner is like, no, stick to the classics. They've got a food critic who's coming in who wants to see what Jon Favreau is all about. Jon Favreau wants to do all sorts of like new agey kind of progressive shit with food and really impress this guy, but then Dustin Hoffman's like, just play the classics. He ends up playing the classics, and of course, predictably, he ends up getting roasted by this guy on Twitter. Now, it was like kind of when Twitter was a newish thing, like 2014. So there's a lot of Twitter involved in this. So like the critic puts out this really scathing review about Jon Favreau's food, and Jon Favreau is like he's got an estranged kid, so he takes care of his kid on the weekends. His ex-wife is Sofia Vergara, and his kid is like showing him, oh yeah, this is what Twitter is, blah blah. Let me set you up with like a Twitter for your name. And he decides to go on Twitter, and he thinks that he's sending a direct message to the critic, but he's actually adding him like in public because he just doesn't know how to use a phone. And he's like, calls him out, and so they have this like showdown. And he's like, let me redo the food for you again. But then he gets like, he quits before the critic gets there. So he kind of just like basically, goes on his own and has to like rediscover himself, and also the relationship with his son. Uh, And the way he does that is he opens up a food truck in Miami and he just fucking makes and sells Cuban sandwiches. And his sous chef from his restaurant, John Leguizamo, comes and helps him out. And so, the rest of the movie is just kind of like he's recovering from being burnt out in a high pressure situation and just making comfort food, but then that comfort food's really like badass and delicious. And the cinematography for the food makes you wicked hungry. And it just makes me it's just so funny because it's just all about like he only does one thing in his food truck. And I think that the best places to get food tend to have the smallest menus. I don't know if that's your experience, but it's
Yeah, they
like
specialize in, I agree.
do one or two things really well, right? And then just do that. Just that's it. Don't put a bunch of shit in your menu and do it like all half-assed. Just do one or two things really well, and go from there. Like we have I've talked about garlic breath pizza before, which is right here. They make a banging ass pizza, man, and when their pizza's gone, it's sold out. Like they don't when they're out of materials, they close. And that's like the most like purest like thing ever. And it's like that's the soul of chef as well. Is just enjoy doing really one good thing. Story wise, I don't know. I mean, it was a very lightweight movie. I enjoyed it. I didn't. There was nothing about this movie that made me nervous or gave me anxiety. It was just like, oh, okay, cool, this is happening. Oh, I really like Cuban sandwiches. Okay. Oh yeah, he has kind of a weird relationship with his son. Okay, I know that shit that happens. Oh, okay, that's nice. They kind of have understanding, and then it just ends like on a happy note. But I mean, this doesn't make it a bad movie. It was very enjoyable. It's just kind of also forgettable. Um, but where would I rank this? I think is the question, right?
It's the question.
It's
That's
it's
actually
such
should
a
be the
like
name of the
simple
podcast
movie.
of this series. Where do I rank this? We say that a lot.
Where do I rank it?
Where do I rank
Well,
this?
because I don't know. Where the fuck? As this list gets bigger, it just becomes ridiculous to be like, oh, this is better than all these 40 movies. Um, like would I watch this again? You know, I think I'm gonna put this right under companion at 21. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And also, another thing that Chef has going for it is like 90 minutes.
Always, that's always good.
That's always a plus. It's like, okay, you got in, you got out, you told the story. I mean, look, if you want a simple movie that's like, and you're into food, um, check it out. I don't think it's better than the menu. I think the menu was a little bit more interesting and darkly humorous, but I thought it was perfectly fine for what it did.
I think the darkly humor is what made the menu. It's almost saved the menu because
I mean, it has to.
yeah.
Well, and Ray Fiennes too. I mean, Ray Fiennes is great.
No,
In
no,
everything he
it's
does, in my
actually a
opinion.
decent cast. Like the acting was definitely great. I think the story was a little
My God,
absurd, but yes,
absurd. Yeah, but the sous chef's like, I have to kill myself as part of this menu. Like, oh my
yeah.
God. Spoiler
Well,
alert.
so do we each have one movie left? We've been doing this for a little over an hour, but we knew this was going to be a long
Lord
one.
of the
But
Rings.
we have one movie left, and let me tell
Oh,
you what I
nice.
watched. You talked about 90-minute movies. This movie was 94 minutes. This was a sweet spot movie, and it's a horror, supernatural horror film. I kind of liked it. The premise I saw, I watched like this thing called Dead Meat Podcast. I heard about this. So this has been on my radar every now and then. I'm like, it's time. I saw the 2022 film Talk to Me. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Talk to me.
Talk,
The title's for who's in it?
no one that I fucking know. And I think this movie was made in Australia. I could be wrong about that, but that doesn't matter. Um, Basically, anyone that knows, there's a hand. You have this hand, and there's a legend that this hand is from a medium from like back in the 1600s, 1700s, whatever. And he said he could speak to ghosts, and obviously the people are
Oh,
scared. They cut off his hand, they embalmed his hand, and it's just lived on through time. Now, again, this is all supposed. So, but these group of teenagers, one of them have this hand, and it's like almost like a party trick. A lot of people think,
oh yeah.
oh yeah, I know, because they take the videos, and they're like, that's just fake.
Yep.
So anyhow, it starts off with me and this group of friends, and one of them has the hand, and the idea is this hand's placed in the middle. You light the candle to open the passage. They literally chain you to like the chair. You grab the hand like a handshake, and the first thing you say is "talk to me," and that's what freaks a lot of people out because you see basically a spirit right in front of you, and that freaks them out. The second thing you say is "I let you in," and the spirit possesses you. Now the whole
Oh,
idea is
that's
they
not.
only can do this for 90 seconds because the idea is if it's past 90 seconds, they can actually take over your body. You know that we talk about rules. That's the rules here, and
Mhm.
so yeah, so Mia does this. And she's kind of looking and she's freaking out like her best friend's little brother because you can't control what you're saying. The spirit's just like, oh, I bet you taste really good, just like freaking this little kid out.
God.
Yeah, you have to
Mhm.
break the hand. She went because she kind of fell over. She went over 90 seconds by literally a couple seconds, and she when they're
Is that the
done,
sign?
they all feel amazed. Like they're like, that's the most amazing feeling. So I know in the last thing I talked about, Colossal dealt with obviously like alcoholism. It's almost like the high feeling. They don't really explain it, but that's the only way to explain it. It's like the feeling they just had this great high, and they're happy, and they're just like, oh, I want to do it again. But yeah, so the whole idea is the spirit comes in, 90 seconds, and this is a fucking creepy thing, Soto, because as time goes on, because she went past, she's starting to see like images in her real life, and just like it's just figuring out what's real and what's not. And basically, the little brother wants to do it. He's now 15, and his older sister's like, I do not want him doing this. And Mia's like, at one time, I'm like, all right, because the sister went out, like, I'll let you do it. Let's do this 60 seconds. Like, they're like trying to cap off. They're like, well, we'll just stop you at 60, okay? And he's like, all right, I want to do this. And unfortunately, the spirit takes the chair as he's possessed and like almost pushes it back. They can't break him, and he's slamming his head in the wall, like trying almost killing himself. So then
God.
yeah, so now it's just like he is being held by these spirits, and she's just trying to figure out what can I do to save him. And obviously the older sister's pissed at her because she told him no. Her parents think that Mia gave him drugs because Mia's a former addict, and she's like, I didn't
Hmm.
give him anything. And they're trying to explain, and obviously, how do you explain a possessed spirit hand to like no one knows? But
No.
you know what I mean? It's like, where do you go from here?
Yeah.
Um, and the big thing is, Mia's mother has passed away. That's why she's with like her friends, family, and stuff like that. And her mom is one of these spirits. Um, but yeah, no. So this is a good creepy movie, and I know they're doing a sequel,
Hmm.
which will be intriguing, and I will probably end up checking it out. I really
Interesting.
like this. If you like this is a well done supernatural horror. Supernatural horror is hard for me personally because I just a lot of no because I just for lack of better terms I find a lot of it stupid. And just like okay,
Yeah, of
and
course.
it's like not well done, or we've said this, they just do things for plot reasons. Um,
Mhm.
but everything made sense in this. If you put it into, for lack of better terms, real life context. Like if this was happening to us, like if we were younger and we did this, we would react the way they did. We would just be like, "Fuck this shit." But but then we're like, "Well, how do we? What's our stories? What did this kid? You know what I mean?" So there's a lot of, it's just the story is there, and it's not really scary. A couple jump scares, but it was well done. And like I said, I'm just because I think of like The Ring, I think of The Grudge. When Supernatural
Mhm.
really was big in America, and coming, stealing the Japanese shit. And I was like, these are okay. But I'd had they're okay, but I wasn't like I did not think they were these great things. I can't even like Paranormal Activity, like Poltergeist might have been, because I was younger, the best supernatural thing I've seen, but that's a different, I was like 6, 7, whatever. But no, this
Poltergeist is a
is
great movie.
yeah, it is. But this is surprisingly good. And like I said, for a supernatural horror, it keeps you in. It doesn't, like I said, it's not going to scare you. Some creepy images and stuff like that, but it's more the mindset. Like, where are these kids going to go? What they're going to do? Or do they realize what's real and
Yeah.
what's not? Kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I was actually quite intrigued. I did not know how much I was going to like it, but I think I liked it more than I did. Or I thought I was going to. Let me rephrase that because I was like, yeah. Let me get to my list though. Because that's gonna be the big question. Where am I gonna put this? Where? Because I will, like I said, I don't know when, but I definitely will see the sequel. So I don't think it's coming out this year. Oh
I
no,
mean, I've heard buzz about this movie for
it's
a while,
good.
so
Yeah, no,
interesting.
it's
Yeah.
Toto. See this instead of Slaw. Please see any out of my other movies instead of Time Cut. Teenage Hanks. You love Teenage Hanks. Go see it. Colossal. Oh, great movie about alcoholism and makes you think and feel. Oh, that's a good feeling movie. This great. No, you're gonna fucking see Slaw. Out of all four movies I talked about today, you're seeing Slaw. Fuck you.
I mean, I have no choice. Like, I hear your words and they're filled with
I get
logic.
it. I get it.
But I mean, as a man, like, if I make a promise, I got to go through with it. Like, results be damned. I do want to see Colossal, and that sounds interesting. And I'm into the spooky stuff, as I'll get into in a little bit. So,
I'm putting this at 13. Lucky number 13. I'm putting this right above Mulan.
wow,
Um,
right about Friday 13th. Here we go.
Yeah, no, I was looking right underneath a couple comedies. But yeah, right now I think I would put this there because, like I said, this was actually it was again 94 minutes. Did I say? Yeah, 94 minutes. So sweet spot. It didn't overstay its welcome. Um, all the actors, all the kids, like there wasn't an annoying. You know how when you watch these kind of movies, there's one character you're like, oh, that you just the actor's annoying. Just something's off. Like if you ever see Time Cut, you're like, a couple of these kids are annoying. No, this is this is a well acted movie, and they went all in on it, and I liked it. So yeah, right now I think I'm gonna put it at 13. That seems like a good spot for you. You're right, Friday 13th tomorrow. Damn, I didn't even think about that. Um, yeah, no, I like this, and I actually, like I said, I hear rumors about what the sequel is gonna be like, but don't know yet. But all the rumors is it's gonna be called Talk to Me, but the word two is gonna be the number two. So I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. But I get it. I get it. Talk to me too, but
What, you want to be like Luke who's talking to, like with TOO? Is that what you're trying? Is
no,
that
I
what you
no
want
no
this?
no, literally, because it's gonna be the promotional image I saw. It's not called Talk to Me Two. Even if it was just Talk to Me with the number two, it's so like think Talk to Me, but where the word two is, it's the number two. So it's like Talk to Me, but with the number two. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
It's weird, but
Gotcha. I
again,
mean,
I'll see it. Because again, if it's anything like this, I'm sure it's going to be good. So that's my list. I am done for the week. What is your final film? Let's end this. Can we end this strongly? Do you have any movie break your top 15? Oh, you did. That's right. Your first one was number 5. I forgot about that. That felt so long ago.
I know, right? Of all things, you're watching horror movies, and I'm watching music movies this week. But to stay along the same theme, I watched a spooky movie myself, and I'll tell you the backstory with this movie and me watching it is that I watched the first one. The movie that I'm talking about is Insidious Chapter 2, and it came out in 2013. I watched the first one last year as part of our little side project to kind of get, I guess,
Oh,
warmed up for
yeah.
the 200 movie challenge. And I thought it was fine. I've been into the Conjuring universe. I've watched a lot of the Conjuring universe. I don't mind it. I think the lore is kind of cool, and James Wan has directed a lot of horror movies within the last 10 years. So when you talk about, you made the comment about supernatural horror not being as big. It's kind of still big, man. People still like the Conjuring universe is a thing that people look forward to. I think there's going to be a sequel to the Conjuring coming out this year. Is it kind of dumb? Absolutely, but it's fun to watch. And so that's what got me to watch Insidious Chapter 2. The lesson I learned with Insidious Chapter 2 is if you're going to get into a series and just the way that things are built these days, if you see something on a streaming service and you want to watch it at that time because shit fucking disappears. And
Yep.
then you think it's on a streaming service, and so you're like take for granted that it's going to be there, and then when you go to watch it, it's now on some other fucking streaming service that just came out last week exclusively, and you don't have access to it. Now you've got to wait or buy it. And of course, I'm not really into the thing of buying movies. So the same thing happened in Insidious Chapter 2. It was on Netflix. It was on, like, after, I could have watched it right after Insidious Chapter 1 because it takes place immediately after. It literally picks up right after the story ends. Like, same situation. But I waited, and then I couldn't fucking find it. But then YouTube had Chapter 3, and then this one had the fourth one, and then you couldn't all get them on the same streaming service. So if you watch a movie and you've heard us say just play over and over again, if you're even listening to this, just fucking hit play. That just do it, because you never fucking know. And if you like it, buy it, and you never have to worry about streaming it. There's not much that I can say about Insidious Chapter 2 because I'd have to get into the, like, you know, the whole lore of it, because obviously it takes place, you know, in the same exact situation. Basically, it's a family. They think they're being haunted, but it's really their people that are being haunted. It's a whole thing, but it's got possession. It's got time loops, which I really like. So when time loops started getting introduced, I'm like, ooh, time travel and ghosts? Love this shit. It's creepy as fuck. It's got jump scares. I think it's done very well. It's digestible, and I'm going to continue to watch this series. I'll be watching Insidious Chapter 3. I think there's one called Insidious the Red Door. I think of it, to be quite honest with you, more like a series, like, you know, as opposed to movies. But I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the second one more than I enjoyed the first, just because it had a little bit more action to it. But there's not much to it. It's jump scares. You think you think things are quiet, and all of a sudden a ghost pops out. That's pretty much what this movie is. So, but I think that the horror scene right now, the very little that I know about it that I've been introduced, obviously we started dipping our toes into it just recently. Like, I think it's still pretty healthy. I mean, Terrifier is a huge series that's current now, and then you got the Conjuring universe, and then Talk to Me was a big hit too. So I think that that's interesting that horror is still like a big thing. I mean, I think it always will be.
It has to be. I mean, people love
So
to be
it
scared. It's
has
just
to
a
be.
matter.
People,
But it's what
they do.
do something new, do something different, because that's. I think that was the
Right.
big problem with the '80s. You know, slasher, which, you know, we're like, oh, this is fun, but it's not like we would say a lot of those movies are quality, if you know what I mean. But and I think that's why you're
Right.
right. I mean, you're right. I wasn't when I was talking about supernatural films, I was just thinking the ones that I've seen. So I didn't obviously have. I've never seen anything in the Conjuring universe, but I just remembered I've just not seen a lot of good ones, and
They're big.
I have to go back to the
No,
'90s and
no.
2000s, as I said, and that's when the first kind of huge wave came. That was
Yep.
the Japanese horror, but yeah, so like
We're still
horror's always
big,
gonna be
man.
around. It's
Still big.
just do something different.
Yeah, do something different. Do something spooky. Insidious doesn't do anything different. It had way less jump scares in the first one, but yeah, we'll see. It's not going to stop me from watching the other ones because, again, you have to just. If you want to watch a movie, sometimes you do want it to be predictable. I'm sorry, not everything's going to be art. It's just not. That's why we have the things that we have on this list. So where do I rank Insidious Chapter 2? And from a pure enjoyment standpoint, it's middle of the road. I'm sorry. This is going to be number 29, right below Mystery Party. This is going to be right there.
All right.
Yeah, Insidious. Insidious Chapter 2. I'm sure Insidious Chapter 3 will be right behind it. Yeah, number 30, moving in that list. So, wow, that brings me up to 44 movies, Chad.
You got 44. I got 48. I know combined that's 92, but overall, because we had some double ups, we're at 88 total. Because yes, we had 4 movies that we saw the same. So technically combined, if we can get 12 more movies by June 30th, we're still on pace. That's the pace, which I think we can do. That's still 2
I think we got this.
Yeah, that's about
Dude,
6 each. In the next.
I'm gonna
3
need
weeks.
to watch 2 movies just to wash away the pain of Slaw this weekend.
Yeah. So. And you brought that upon yourself. I begged you.
No,
you not to do that. No,
it was too late. We made it. We already made
you
the promise
that
like
I
months
did not
ago.
make that pact. You made that pact.
But you know what? It came out of my mouth.
I know. And you know what? No
Came
one's
out of my
listening
mouth.
anyway. No one's listening. No one would
No,
care one way or
doesn't
another if you did or
matter.
not. They'd be like,
Doesn't
well, didn't
matter.
Soto say?
A promise is a promise. It's like I said I was going to do it. Now I won't do it for the rest of this challenge, like I mentioned earlier.
Oh, don't
But
worry, Soto.
I mean,
Nothing's gonna be worse than Slaw. I
oh,
guarantee you. Like if
you,
I
I hope you're right.
Soto, I would rather watch Sharks of the Corn again than watch
Oh
fucking
no,
Slaw.
that was a no. I
No,
don't ever want to watch that movie.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying if you gave me those two movies and said, Chad, you need to watch one right now. I'm like, well, give me Sharks of the Corn because there's sharks in the corn and that's just funny shit. And that's about it.
Oh, the
That's it.
shark gods.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would rather watch that again.
oh
Anyhow,
my God.
I don't know what
God
I'm
help
watching
me.
next
God
week.
help me.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Help, everyone help you.
I know what I'm starting with. I know what I'm starting with next week. And that's gonna be, I guess, my worst movie is next week too. Wow, how weird it is to already see that down the road, being like, I'm gonna put number 45 as Slaw next week.
So
You could
if you
I'm
write
just gonna write it
Slaw,
now.
if you rank it 44 above Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, I'm actually going to probably question you. So that I'm curious because I know how you felt. Like I said, the Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies debate, I get because I couldn't put it as my worst because I wasn't expecting quality. I think when you heard me
Yeah.
talk about it, you're like, I gotta see this, and you had more expectations than I did. I mean, again, I did not think it was going to be last, but I wasn't going to be up there. But like after I saw Slaw, I'm like, nope. The question is now,
Uh,
hold on.
uh,
Here's the question
uh.
because now I know you're going on this journey. You're seeing Slaw. Um, it's gonna be fucking hilarious.
Acceptance.
Yeah,
This is acceptance.
there's going to be a part two to this somehow. Um,
Oh God
will you
Almighty! It
ever?
has to
Then
be.
the question is, I think I'd rather have you watch Under the Bed. But we
Well,
can't
I
do too
can't
many
now.
double ups. We got to get to 200. Anyhow, all right, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. That's episode 19. Oh, it's tough when we miss a week, but you know what? It's okay. We got a lot to cover. We're getting there.
I think
I
we
don't know
made a
what
lot of progress.
we did.
I
We did.
think we made a lot of progress. The Slaw episode is what we could call this.
I mean, I'm looking at this list of what we talked about today, and man, I. So you talk about 7 rentals. All right, hold on. Before we end this, imagine we were roommates back when we were back in the day. We went to we weren't working at
Yeah.
Black, but we were go, and we're like, hey, let's not because I'm looking 9. So we were like, let's get all 9 new releases. And you look, we bring home a complete unknown, Slaw, Crazy Samurai, Time Cop, Murder Mystery, Colossal, Chef, Talk to Me, Insidious 2. People come over
Oh
like,
my
what
God.
the fuck is your guys' problem? What movies
These
are
are
you?
all movies. They're all movies. They're different kinds of movies, but they're movies. They're movies. That's and
Oh my god.
everything's a science experiment, man. It's like I've seen so many movies. You've seen so many fucking movies. Like sometimes I want to see the worst movie I've ever seen because I don't
You
know what
will.
the bottom of the ocean looks like. You know what I mean?
All right, so I am gonna be curious. I like I said, I'm pretty sure. Like I'd put money on it. I'd put a parlay on it that that's gonna be the worst. But I want to see if you think it's worse than Sharks of the Corn. That's gonna be my main question
Oh,
for next. Oh, I just want to know.
oh,
I just want to know. Anyhow, that will do it for the
yeah.
200 movie challenge. Next week, episode 20. So no, episode
Episode 20. It's gonna be a good one.
20. It might be. Well, yeah, it's
20.
gonna be a good one. You're gonna start off with Slaw. God damn it.
The
Anyhow,
Return of Slaw.
part 2. This is going to be a Slaw part 2 review. We'll see how far I get because if we do that before I can get it uploaded, I'll just combine the two. Oh my god, Slaw part 2. People are
That's
going to be
great.
so confused. But
Oh, me
all
too.
right,
Me too.
that's going to do it for this week. Until next week, watch some good movies. Do not watch Slaw. Soto, don't press play on that shit.
I'm doing it now. I'm pressing play.